How to adjust your DJ style to DJ with Bluetooth. I'm DJ Spiegel Spin, and in this video, we're going to talk about it. So whether us DJs like it or not, we are moving to a world without wires. The new iPhone, the new iPads, they do not have a headphone jack. They got no place to plug in an audio cable. So the future is Bluetooth. So let's get straight to the point on how we're going to adjust our styles as DJs so that we could be comfortable DJing with Bluetooth. Okay, so first of all, toss the basics out the window. As DJs, when we first learn, we're taught to count beats, listen to beats, and use audio cues in order to know what's going on in the song, in order to know when to do our mixes, and in order to match up our beats and to do scratching and to stay on point. So we gotta relearn basically everything we know, because instead of using audio cues, we are going to be using video cues, and we are going to be adjusting our timing and using a couple tips and tricks that'll help us DJ professionally while using Bluetooth speakers. So the first thing that we are not going to do, at least as of now, is no more headphones. So headphones, since the beginning of DJ, headphones were like the cheat code with DJing, because you could hear what you could hear the other deck, you could hear stuff that the audience can't hear, and then you could line everything up, and then when it's ready in your headphones, you could play it for the audience. So now we don't have that luxury, but it's fine. There are some stuff that we could do. So let me load up an EDM song for an example. Here is a pretty classic one. This is Delirious by Kid Cudi and Steve Aoki. So let's open up the waveforms. So instead of listening for when the drop is going to happen, because there are audio cues, there's risers, there's sound, the sound gets tighter and tighter, builds up, and then there's a drop. Instead of doing that, just by looking at this track, we could tell where the drop is going to be. So if we look over here, right here, it gets smaller. This sounds like shh, like that white noise type of sound. And then it says something right here. And then boom, now it drops. So we know when this drop is going to start. So what we can do is on the other deck, we could start the next song at the drop. We could use the drops instead of counting beats and counting bars. We could cheat by knowing what a drop looks like on the screen, and then we can mix that way because the drops are lined up with the beats and the bars. So by doing that, we will know, instead of listening to our headphones and counting beats and getting everything lined up perfectly, we can know just by learning what drops look like. So if you look at this song on the left deck, I'll just double it into the right deck. It's very obviously where these drops and breakdowns are. So you could start the next song at the beginning of the drop, maybe put it at half volume, and then just drop the second song at the first drop. Or you could wait till one of these spots over here. If you could see where my mouse is, you see how it turns into like a little triangle? That is a perfect place to do a mix with another song where you see the same shape. So we're going by shape, we're going by color, and we are not going by sound, because when you're using a Bluetooth speaker, at least now, and for like 90% of Bluetooth speakers, there is going to be a slight latency. So if there's a beat going on your screen, it is going to be slightly off on the speaker, depending on the quality of the speaker. It might be closer, it might be farther away, but it's not going to be instant. It's not going to be like when you play Xbox with a controller and you instantly press the buttons and it happens on the screen. It's not going to be like if you are using a Bluetooth DJ controller, because it's different frequencies with the MIDI controls. So when you're playing Xbox, it's MIDI controls frequencies going from the controller to the Xbox. When you're using a DJ controller, it's the same thing, but with audio, it is different. It is more data, and as of now, these speakers have a latency. So with DJing, we're taught to be exact, to be on beat, to count the beats, count the bars. But now Bluetooth throws that all off, so we cannot use that anymore. We cannot do any of that. So the things that are out the window that we cannot do with Bluetooth are going to be manually beat matching by ear. Now, this is what a lot of people think DJing is being able to use your ears, line up the tracks, press the button at the right time, and then have two songs playing at the same time. And it is a good skill. It builds your confidence, but it's not necessary anymore. And you can't even do it with Bluetooth. So what we're going to be doing is we are simply just going to be using the sync button when we want to play two songs at the exact same time. So like I said, with the drops and with the breakdowns, we can line up these songs and then just make sure they're on the same BPM, and then use sync button to keep them in sync. So it is cool to be able to do it manually, but it doesn't really matter. Using sync is not cheating, especially if you're using Bluetooth speakers. Now, another thing that we could take advantage of that is an advantage and not a disadvantage is our iPad is not going to be plugged into anything. So we're going to have free motion. So you guys can incorporate some creative techniques into your DJ set. One of them being by leading dances. So let's say you throw on the cha-cha slide, and then you could take your iPad, and there's cases that I recommend that have like a handle on it, so you could just use one hand and hold the iPad. Now you could go into the audience, and you could be doing the cha-cha slide with them, and then you could mix into the next song, and you could do all your DJing, and you don't need to be handcuffed to the deck. So you could be a more of an interactive DJ that's going into the crowd more, and that is more in tune with the people around you, and the handcuffs have came off of us, and we're not stuck behind the DJ decks anymore. Now, another thing is scratching. I think a lot of people think scratching is very important to DJing, but because there's going to be a slight latency, it's going to be almost impossible to get the scratches to be on beat. So there is a way to get around this, and that is if you record your own samples. So I made various videos on how to record your own samples. So with this one, let's see, where's my, go down here. So I recorded a couple of my own scratches. So I recorded the baby scratch. I recorded a triple scratch. And I recorded a chirp scratch. So now if there's a beat playing, so now we have a track playing. So we have a track playing. And now if we hit the record button down here, now we could have our scratching being, and we could use the sync, because when you press that record button, it is going to use sync, and it is going to get your scratches to be with the beat. So that is a way around scratching with Bluetooth, because before a lot of people thought it was impossible, but it is actually possible to do if you think out of the box a little bit. Now, another thing is just DJ and have your confidence, and don't let the Bluetooth hold you back. And if you're like me, who learned how to DJ on the iPad, and you've been and you only DJ'd with the iPad, or you're new to this, it is going to be a lot easier because you're not used to using the audio cues. You're used to using these visual cues, because we were DJing with the iPad, and DJ Pro has such a good waveform view, and it makes it very easy for us to do this. So if you learned something from this video, give it a like. If you want to learn everything there is to know about DJing with the iPad and the DJ Pro app, subscribe to my channel. I make a lot of DJ videos.